That
Mhm.
when you build a community of people who want your service, use your service, maybe want change, want the particular product, you're speaking to the right people then in that group. So rather than it being just a random group of people that you've built it. So but definitely you being the instigator of the interaction.
Welcome to the Social Media Takeaway. I'm your host, Louise McDonald, and today I'm speaking with Fiona O'Neill about using Facebook groups for audience growth and customer reach. Fiona O'Neill is the founder of Count on Us Recruitment, Ireland's only recruitment service dedicated to helping family carers return to work. She is a social innovator and a change maker. Fiona is a family carer herself, and she saw a missed opportunity by the Irish economy around labour and skills shortages. So with 500,000 family carers in Ireland not being given the opportunity to apply for part-time employment, employers were missing out on this untapped workforce. And so that was really what encouraged you to set up Count on Us Recruitment. Fiona, you're very welcome to the show.
Thank you very, very much. God, that was some intro. Thank you so much.
Do you want to maybe give us a little background on your journey so far?
Yeah, you've really summarized it all there. So I'm a family carer myself. So it's a care for my son. And when you're a family carer in Ireland, you get, it's called a carer's allowance. Now, I won't even go into, there's a whole debate on that because of the 500,000 family carers, there's 100,000 of us that qualifies for the care allowance. So that's a whole other conversation in itself. But with the carer's allowance, there's a limit of 18 and a half hours per week that you're allowed to work. So that's a government rule that with this payment, it's the 18 and a half hours. So when I had to give up work because, as I often say, is that my son had more hospital appointments than I had days holidays. So I was nearly 20 years for an insurance company and had to give up work. And I know that's what I said, there's thousands of people across the country that have had similar journeys, that they have qualifications and skills to give, but have had to give up work because of sickness at home or maybe a parent getting older or whatever it may be. But when I was trying to find my own part-time work, because I could still work around him going to services and, you know, that he wouldn't have appointments 5 days a week and things like that, I knew I could still work part-time. But when I tried to find work, I could not find a part-time job that matched that 18 and a half hours. Could not find it for love nor money. So that's where kind of the ball started rolling. So, well, if I'm finding it this hard to find a part-time job, someone that has like I have my degree, I have my skills to give, I was part of an operations team, consider myself a good head on my shoulders, that I couldn't find a job. There's so many thousands of family carers like me that were out there on the same journey. So that's kind of where it started. I suppose the Facebook group started because before it became a proper business, and before I actually went down the road of we are now a limited company, it was me of finding jobs, would say it could be 17 hours or 18 hours, and sharing them into Facebook groups of already established communities. So it could be maybe, you know, a group of parents with children with autism, maybe. And I'd find the job in Cork and I would say share it into the Facebook group. And I'd say, here, I'm after finding 17 hours in Cork, or I'd share something into Waterford. And it kind of started there. And then I said, hold on a second now. If I centralize all this and we start with our own Facebook group, that's where I'll start sharing the jobs. That's kind of where the whole, like I said, the seed was planted from there. And from there, being able then to kind of really bring the idea to fruition and even starting a community that I had people to brainstorm with. Then, like I said, the company became established and is now a limited company nationally, you know. So yeah, it was my own personal journey that really kind of instigated it all. So that's kind of it in a nutshell.
You know, and I talk all the time about being very clear on the problem that you solve and the problem and the pain that you're solving.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you tick that box and you're very clear on who it is you're targeting. A perfect example of, you know, solving a problem and a real problem for people and building a service around it. Tell us about growing your Facebook group.
So like I said, it started off and it still very much is a Facebook group. So we have a community of just over 4,000 in our Facebook group at the moment of all family carers. And even something as small as that, when we started to, within a month of having the Facebook group, we had our first 1,000. But even in the Facebook group, before we were called Count on Us Recruitment, we used to be called Jobs for Family Carers. But it was using my Facebook group that, because I had a community and already a following of people who wanted to use such a service to help them find part-time jobs, when it came to having to put a bit of a rebrand on it, And taking a step back to why the rebrand was needed is, again, I have learned not to make assumptions on anything. Because I was a family carer myself, that's I had the blinkers on about family carers. So that's why it was jobs for family carers. But when I would approach then companies, asking them maybe do they want to advertise their vacancies with us, they didn't get what we were doing, because when they saw the title of the company, they thought I was hiring for caring jobs. They thought I was like, do you know, like a comfort keeper or Bluebird Care or one of them, because they saw the title of jobs for family carers and they thought it was a caring company, as in trying to place home care people. So again, this is a learning for me. So again, I assumed by the name, I wasn't looking through everyone's eyes. I was looking through just the family carers' eyes. So here was now me approaching employers and they not getting what we were doing.
It happens all the time, Fiona, that people in their, like, that's another thing I talk about all the time, messaging. You know, if your messaging isn't clear, like, and remember, they're making a decision in a split second over whether they're going to read the next line or talk to you or respond or whatever. So yeah, that's like, it's jobs for family carers. So the people that weren't the family carers just didn't get it.
Yeah, didn't get it. Family carers got it.
Yeah.
But the paying people, like I said, we approach employers who have vacancies, maybe sometimes even people that would have part-time jobs, could be maybe 21, 24 hours. And we would say, look, if the right family carer with the qualifications and the skills that you need was to apply for the job, and we're not asking for a family carer to come in the back door, they still get interviewed like everyone else. But if they're the ones that score highly in the interview, are you open to 18 and a half hours? If they're the ones that you want on your team, are you open to doing 18 and a half hours? So that's where employers then pay through us then to be able to find people for them in their vacancies. So that's another piece of our work, is nearly educating employers that this 18 and a half hour contracts are something that's needed in the workforce. So as you mentioned, there's 500,000 family carers. Even if a third of them, so even if, I think that's all like 160,000 or whatever it may be, even if a third of family carers were to work 18 hours a week, that's 3 million labour hours per week that's not being used in Ireland at the moment, that employers are missing out on. So again, like I said, that's where we have those conversations. But again, like I said, the jobs for family carers, when we were approaching these employers, they weren't getting our service was. And again, that was a huge learning for me. It was not to assume anything. You run with a name, you run with an idea, you run with this is going to work, but you haven't looked through everyone's eyes and gotten everyone's opinion. And going back to the Facebook groups, that's where I was able to put it back to the family carers themselves, to say, like, literally to give them maybe 4 options of name choices, say, we're going to have to rebrand. I know, because it was and it still is my baby, like anyone who owns a business, it becomes your baby. To remove the name family carers out of it, I didn't want family carers to feel that nearly I was ashamed of taking family carers out of the title. So that's why I wanted them involved in the naming of the service that was going to advocate for them. And it was within Facebook groups on a monthly basis. I always start my post in the group saying, like, you know, I'm on a poll rampage again, because the facility within groups to use polls, your voting polls, again, it's just within that, rather than being maybe Survey Monkey, that a lot of emails bounce back or whatever it may be. Because we have a community now of about 4,000 in a Facebook group, I ran a poll was it about a fortnight ago? The last time I'd ran it was 2022. So again, to be able to have my numbers to compare to see what has changed about what benefits a family carer gets from having a part-time job. It's not always about payslip. So is it mental health? Is it, using your skills? Is it meeting new people? But to be able to use that poll, and I actually screenshotted, I don't have the image here to you, but within an hour, I had 300 responses in a poll.
That's amazing.
You know, it's just phenomenal. So that's one thing I always, to any business owners, I would say, if you could build a community within within Facebook groups. Now, I haven't got a clue the algorithms and things like that, but there is a lot more engagement within a group than there would be if I had to maybe put a Survey Monkey link on a page.
And in a group, I suppose, for anyone who's maybe not familiar with Facebook groups, if it's a private group, it means that you can go into that group and you can interact in that group, and you're not worried that your family or your friends or your neighbors are going to see, anything that you're writing. It's private. So even though it's on social media, nobody can see it. But for a moment, I just want to explore, so for somebody who has a group and they're struggling to grow the group, what advice would you give them?
For you to interact in it, first of all. But like I said, I think every once in a while to put in something in the group and then expecting this influx is not going to happen. So you need to lead by example. So you to be frequent in the group, and whether it be polls, and to slowly see the response rate start to increment, or even you Facebook Live into a group. So again, it's a privilege to be part of the group rather than it be a live out on a page. That you're actually getting, by being part of this group, you're getting this information delivered to you. Do you know what I mean? But definitely, I think even if someone has a product or a service that they're delivering, that you get to find, rather than shouting to everyone, that when you put a post out, that it's, you're hoping it'll fall on the right ears. That when you build a community of people who want your service, use your service, maybe want change, want the particular product, you're speaking to the right people then in that group. So rather than it being just a random group of people that you've built it. So, but definitely you being the instigator of the interaction and the promotion of it as well. Like I said, use it as not a VIP area, but use it as like this is, you're part of this community. Like I said, it doesn't even have to be, it doesn't have to be a service. It could be a product, even, like I said, as in hold in your hand product. We're the users of this. Do you know what I mean? That spread the word to your family and friends, and be an advocate for this piece or whatever it may be, but it just makes it a special community when it's part of the group.
Okay, so what you're saying is that in order to grow your group, you as the leader, you as the owner of the group, you need to be active. So it's not something you can outsource to a team member or to.
I don't think so. I think it's because they want to see you on video, and because sometimes a brand, you are the brand. Like you are the person behind the service, the person behind the product. It's you. They want to know who's the person that they're buying from, who's the person that they're dealing with. And so no, outsource it, like I said, maybe to do the videos or whatever it may be from an efficiency point of view. But I do think it needs to be you that's on the videos and doing the talking. As I said, whether it be networking, business networking events and things like that, I'd often say to people, like, have you started a Facebook group? That's where, and even if something in a business is at idea stage, again, before you have a product to launch, before you have a service to launch, that's your space to ask questions. Like my assumption at the very, very start was that find a job, find an 18-hour job, find the family care, they get the job, easy peasy. That's it, 1 + 1 = 2. That was it. But when I actually asked in the group, how can I help you find a part-time job? It was an open-ended question, basically. And all these other responses came in about who's going to hire me. I haven't worked for 10 years. So it wasn't just as easy as finding the job, finding the family care and getting them employed. And that's where we developed then further services when it comes to workshops around maybe self-belief or confidence, or someone who doesn't even have a CV, helping them with their CV. But it was by asking that question in the group that people came back then with all these other things that I assumed. And again, it's something I keep saying over and over again, to assume nothing. It's a space in a group to be able to ask your clients, ask your customers, is this what you want? Is this going to help you? If I was to do this, if I was to offer this service, would it work?
So great for research. But so in terms of so are you active in the group every day, or how do you work it?
So I would be active every day, more in the comments. So again, it's a space where people would put in, it might ask a question to say, I'm in Kildare, I'm a teacher. Does anyone know of any jobs there in the Kildare area? Now, we have a jobs board on our website. So it's in the comments then to be able to talk to someone and say, well, here's the jobs. Well, here's all the jobs in Kildare. Have you registered with us? Because that's another topic even we could talk about, is that trying to migrate people from groups into being registered people with us. And because it was, you know now as well yourself, it was 2 or 3 years ago that Facebook went down for the 2 or 3 days. It was like a global outage. And because I was so Facebook group based, I was like, how do I get back to my people? Like, if I lose this audience, I have no way of getting back to them. So again, it was an eye-opener to me. I need to migrate these people from Facebook groups into a database. So again, it's in the comments when people put it in a question, or rather than it be the post itself being the interaction, it's the comments then that if people put in a question, having those conversations in the comments. So like I said, getting them to register with us, even other people that, again, when you build that community, other people will actually reply to that. So it's nearly, like a peer-to-peer. Yeah. So again, even if someone had a product, to say, I can't get this to, or it's too hard to open. For other people to say, well, this is how I open it, or this is how it works for me, or I use such and such a thing and it opens it easier that way. When you have a community of people help each other. So other people then in the comments then would say, oh, I saw a teaching job, Newbridge, or whatever it may be. And again, it's even to that comment again, chatting to that person saying, thank you so much for getting involved in the conversation. I love this. And it's all that, it's that, that building of relationships then when it comes to not just the service side of things in the community, it's the relationship building.
Yeah. So if somebody's sitting here and they're thinking about starting a group, or they have a group, like if they're thinking about planning some posts, what type of posts are working the best right now in Facebook groups?
For me, definitely the polls. People love to give their opinion, even if it's a bad opinion sometimes, and they'll tell me if something's not working. Do you know what I mean? That if I'm taking too long to get back to them on CVs. So there's a team of us, the three of us, that there's 2 business coaches or 2 life coaches that are with us as well. And they would help with CVs. So they would say, we can't wait a week for a CV. If we see a job, we need to get the CV out ASAP kind of thing. So polls and asking for feedback. People love to give their opinion. They love to have their voices heard. So that's what I would be in. That's where I would go with polls, is asking people about, does this work for you? It could even be about a post to say, I'm thinking of going, putting this post up on the Facebook page. Which post would you prefer? Do you know, and people love to give their opinion. Do you know, and that's where the interaction starts. And I think they value being asked, rather than going off and doing something and thinking, everyone's going to love this, or everyone's going to need this. When you ask their opinion, they appreciate that. To know that they were involved in it to a certain extent,
And tell me, the feature, the tagging everyone, what do you think about that? Do you use it? Does it work? Does it annoy people?
I do use it. I do use it. Yeah, I think it's working. I see the difference in engagement when you use it, whether it be a normal post or whether it be a Facebook poll. It definitely does. And it's up to the person themselves then to whether they want to engage or not. Because again, like I said, the joys of Facebook is that there's so many things that will never land on someone's screen. It depends on whatever Facebook decides to send to that person that day, or whatever it may be. Now, I'm on the other side of it as well, is that there's many, many posts that I get, you see in the words that Mary Murphy has tagged you and others. And then I'm kind of going, okay, well, that's in everyone, and it's up to me then whether I decide to go in and have a look at what is actually going on or not, But it works from a business point of view. Definitely. It's a great little tool to have. I haven't found anyone that has unsubscribed or unengaged. Like, that's one thing I found in our groups. Our numbers haven't dropped. Okay. Whether it be to do with the tagging everyone, or whether it be to do just with our activity in general.
And actually, for anyone listening in who doesn't know what that means, is when you're an administrator in a group, you can just write the @ symbol and start typing the word everyone. So, and everyone that's in the group that has their notifications turned on for that particular feature gets a notification to say, Fiona O'Neill has tagged you and others in a post. And then they know, oh, there's a new post from this group. So yeah, I use it as well. I'm kind of careful with how I use it. I don't use it for every post, because I think if you use it too frequently, then people won't bother checking it out. Whereas if they know, every time that she uses this, it's worth checking out. So that's how I use it. And tell me, like, the changes that came in very recently with Facebook in terms of, they've changed the API permissions with groups. Have you noticed any difference there, or do you just go live directly in the groups yourself? For third-party apps.
Oh, yes. No, I just go directly into the group. I'm not a third-party user at all. I'm just go directly into the group. And it's then about using those videos, more than what you would do as well, is using them for other tools and using them for other, whether it be pull a 30-seconder from it or something to use it on something else. So
and how do you find going live? Because I used to find going live directly in a group from Facebook was horrible. I used to find I never knew if I was live or not, and I'd be like, am I live?
I know. And I see a lot of people struggling with that. Even your conversation starts with that, people kind of checking their technology.
Yeah.
You can see people doubting themselves. Like all technology, there's area for improvements and everything. Do you know what I mean? But no, I use it and I get the engagement. The engagement mightn't be during the live.
Yeah.
It could be the aftermath. Because people, and again, it's going back to what time suits right people and checking. And that's one thing that I've hugely to do is, to track my insights and things like that. And it's something that, again, it's when you come to efficiencies and time, it's something that we need to do and we're not doing. So we we need to be looking at those things, but I use the lives and reusing that live for other pieces throughout, whether it be moving that across to Instagram or putting it on the Facebook page itself, because it's in the group that I find more. But even though our page is quite active, the engagement is better in the group than it is on the page.
Yeah, I'd say that's a privacy thing. I think people just don't want people knowing their business.
Yeah. You're right.
So, yeah.
Because there's so many people that will kind of watch from a distance and never interact. And they could love a post and never hit the like button.
Oh, yeah. I remember doing a store. I remember a few years ago, I decided I was doing 10 tips over 10 days, and, I was all enthusiastic on day 1 and day 2. And then I was on about day 6 and I was going, oh, crikey, this is painful. But anyway, the tips were great, but it was just... And then I was in a shop paying in the queue. And this lady that I didn't know, she came up to me and she goes, I am just loving your tips. Yeah. And as I walked away, I was going, well, take care. Would you like your comment?
It's so
she was watching them. And then I said, no, Louise, you got to learn from that. That the people will not, sometimes display their, that they're there, but they are there.
And that's society. That's the way people as themselves are just starting to change, as in that they're not interacting, but still watching.
That's social media, though. I think, though, people will tell you, oh, yeah, I'm not on Facebook. I'm not on Facebook. And I say Facebook in particular, but if you put something on Facebook that is wrong or there's an issue with, my goodness, you'll know all about it. Very, very. I mean, I put up a post a few weeks ago. I was on a page that I'm a volunteer on, and I had written the post, and then I go to my ChatGPT and I said, check syntax and grammar. It's my favorite prompt, just to make sure that everything was fine. And it changed very little. But anyhow, I just copied and pasted what I thought was the updated one, and I put it in the post and published it. And within a few minutes, my sister had texted me, and they're like, a whole ChatGPT thing is in the post, But I was like, don't tell me people aren't there. They are.
Absolutely.
But that's happened over years. Like that trend has emerged over years. Like years and years ago, people would be actively sharing photos of, this is what I did at the weekend. Whereas some people do now, but most people don't, but they're there watching. What other trends would you have noticed? Like, you're a social media user, a Facebook user, like apart from people just kind of just watching more rather than interacting, any other trends you've noticed?
I don't know if this is a trend, but it's something that I'm having to start to do. And again, it's back to audience. So as I mentioned, we have our family carer side of the coin and we have the employer side of the coin. So our employer side of the coin is LinkedIn based. So we have started a group in LinkedIn, but this is again a group. So that privacy piece, that VIP-ishness of being part of this group. And again, it's about thinking of the audience, the difference in topic. So family carers, again, it's about, employment, the benefits employment, how to get the job. In the LinkedIn group for employers, it's about labor shortages and skill shortages. So it's again, thinking about who you're talking to, what's important to them, and then through those conversations of labor shortages and coming up with sharing ideas of those challenges, the conversations that come out of that then about, well, actually, did you know that there's 3 million hours not being used per week because family carers aren't being hired? So again, like I said, it's about knowing where your people are. Now, again, there's nothing to say that there's, a business owner that's using Facebook that's not going to pick up on our message on Facebook, but it's just about broadening the net a little bit. That in LinkedIn, there'll be more people that are in the group are maybe recruitment managers with larger businesses, employers with maybe government agencies even. They're a different group. But again, it's just about, you have different audiences, different place, different messages, who you're speaking to, what are you saying. But I don't know if that's a trend or it's just something that we've started to kind of really kind of branch out into.
I suppose it kind of is, because I think that LinkedIn has really changed in the last maybe a few years, certainly. Like there was a time when I think LinkedIn, had such potential, but it was a bit of tumbleweed, So I remember, like, I'm going back years ago now, like 8, 9, 10 years ago, where, you'd fill out your profile and you might create content, but like nobody was there. Nobody was hanging out there. So there was nothing going on. So, but it's totally different now. Like LinkedIn.
I know, it is different.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Another thing I'm after thinking of now, whether this is a good thing or a bad thing, it's a challenge that I'm dealing with, that of setting boundaries as a business owner, that when you're on social media, people contacting you privately looking for your product or your service when you have other channels. So whether it be email or whether, get your business WhatsApp or whatever it may be. So people sending you messages on your own private Facebook account or your own private Instagram about business related, work related things. and a message coming in at 9 o'clock at night. Do you answer? Do you not answer? Do you redirect them back to the company email? So it's those boundaries as a business owner when social media is there and people have an access to you as a person and how to manage that.
Very important.
So it's something that it's starting to come up over and over again. Because you don't want to damage that relationship with the client then either. You don't want them to feel this one has fobbed me off. But at the same time, it's 9 o'clock at night and you're sitting on the couch with the kids. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So you have to set boundaries. But it's just, again, when it comes to social media, you are there as a person, as your own, as me being a mammy and a family care. I'm there as a person. And then there's the business side of me. Setting boundaries as a business owner is a huge one when it comes to access, you know.
And can you talk as well about list building to grow your email list? Because you made the point earlier on that if Facebook was gone away in the morning and you have that lovely group with 4,000 or 5,000 people and if that was gone in the morning, what would you do? So how do you then grow your list using your group?
So again, just the promotion of it constantly. Now at the start, and do you know what, maybe I should be saying it more often, it was that event when I said to my family carers, I don't want to lose you. You know, that if Facebook goes down in the morning, we have no contact. So maybe I should be saying that more often, as in that's the reality of it. That if you want to stay in contact, like I said, we've just over the 4,000 in the group. I've about 1,000 that have signed over now onto committing to. And even in when I'm saying building the list, it's that registration piece of them kind of nearly like a mini survey of what kind of job would you like to work in, where in the country do you live. So it's me kind of data collecting at the same time.
And what kind of tools do you use for that then, Fiona?
Very basic HubSpot. So it's HubSpot that I'm using, and it's HubSpot that I'm using for email campaigns and things like that as well. I will say it's very slow to take, as in people are, I don't know if it's a fear of committing to give an email address. Is it that it's just one more email that I'm going to get? Like, again, as the business owner, I would love to say, get over 4,000 emails. Do you know what I mean?
And do you do like a free guide for, 2024 guide for Irish family carers? Here's here you can download it. Here, give me your email address. You do that?
Yes. So what we have is it's a download of transferable skills. So when they're writing their CV, for family carers that they think, well, okay, I'm dealing with 5 different consultants, but that follow up with different consultants and having to diary management, different appointments and to follow up on appointments, that those skills, this is how you transfer them into a CV to make them business related, as in when it comes to following up on clients or, time management or diary management. So it's a document on, here's the skills that you can use in your CV, as in not to leave a gap on your CV. So a lot of family carers say, sure, I was just minding my parents for the last 3 years. Sure, that's not something to put on the CV. So that's what this document does, is say, well, these are the skills you have as a family carer that are very CV worthy. So yes, it is that piece that's there to say, well, if you register. Now, there's a lot of people actually that will register without that download piece, that they come in another back door. So it's not always the carrot. I would use it as a carrot, maybe, like I said, if there was a campaign going. Now, again, I don't know when it comes to numbers in comparison to others, but every day I'd have at least 2 or 3 new registrations, just drip feeding in. And a lot of the time, again, going back to social media, is that when you have your community built, a lot of referrals come in through the Facebook group being tagged, not the page. So it's people finding more value from the group than actually from the page. So even when I see an influx, so I have the settings on it that I have to approve people that come into the group, because again, like I said, there's questions that they have to answer about being a family carer and things like that. Because at the start, the floodgates were open and sure, there was everything and anything coming into it. So you do need to have that bit of restriction around your group, because it's pride in your group as well. Do you know what I mean? That you want to have, that the people are in the group for the right reason. So when you see an influx of people wanting to join the group, and again, it's one of the things is that when people are joining the group, you can see what other groups that they're in. So if you're in similar groups, sometimes I can kind of go, oh, I'm after being mentioned. If I see the same kind of group in their list, it's like I notice a trend. I say, that's the group I'm after being mentioned in now. Do you know that it's from the same group that they're coming in from? But like I said, it's the group that that gets tagged in conversations rather than the page. So sometimes it's the other way around, is that I have to promote my page inside the group to go out and like the main page.
Yeah, I think though that the pages, they say on LinkedIn like that the pages become like a destination, so they'll never really get huge organic reach, or they get much less. But at the same time, if somebody is going to check out your brand, they'll go check out and they'll have a look down. So it's kind of the people checking out your social media profile. And I think Facebook pages are going to go the same way, to be honest, because I think the organic reach on pages is so low. They're useful for when you're running ads, or if somebody's going to check you out and they want to see what you're doing right now.
Yeah,
So they'll check out your website to see who you are, and they'll check out your social media to see what you're doing right now. So I think,
absolutely.
I
And
think,
if you're active, because if you were on your Facebook page and you haven't put something up since 2022, for me, even as a customer on the other side, if someone's not active on their Facebook page, that's a decision made in me nearly that I'm kind of going, I'm not going to use them because they're not
yeah.
with the activity, you know.
Or yeah,
Um,
or it just looks like, even you're questioning, is the business even still operational?
absolutely,
And another
absolutely.
thing which drives me a bit crazy is when people have pinned posts. I see it on Facebook and on
Hmm.
Instagram actually. And I have a few times gone, oh, they haven't posted anything since like in a few months. And then I realize
Yeah,
that, oh
it's a
no, that's a
pinned.
pinned post. So be careful with your pinned posts. Remember, like anyone coming to your profile is that you've got milliseconds until they decide they're gone again. So yeah, I'd be careful about the pinned posts.
Really
Because
good point.
yeah, sometimes they look like
Really good
you're
point.
inactive. Okay, brilliant. Do you know what I was thinking would be a great idea for you, Fiona? Just thinking, I feel like if you did an annual survey of family carers and get their opinions on how things are issues that are important to them change over and get them to contribute to it, then publish a report, and so they don't have
Brilliant.
to see the results, and then then you get your email addresses. So
Brilliant. Oh, as in that the results would be their incentive for the email addresses. That is so very good. Really.
yeah.
And like I said, there are things that by talking to people like you, that these ideas that come up with, you know, so I am definitely rubbing that one.
So they'll say you should have about 3 or 4 lead magnets on the go at any one time.
Three or four,
Yeah,
really?
yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh, wow. I
because
didn't know that. That's really interesting.
you're appealing to different people, and at the end of the day, as long as they're set up and you have your everything automated and your emails sequences all working in the background
Brilliant.
on your in your HubSpot, it'll work out. It'll work out perfectly for you. So, any other advice you'd give to people then around Facebook groups? So, build your community, be present yourself,
Yeah.
use it for research, ask questions, run polls, go live directly on, because you've no choice now, I don't think, go live
Mhm.
directly in the groups, use them to grow your email list, and do use the tag, everyone.
Absolutely, yeah. But no, definitely, and it's just be consistent because, like I said, I was very blessed that the group it snowballed. It really did, and that just even going back to when my business was at idea stage, it
Mhm,
just reaffirmed that I was on the right track with this idea. So,
mhm.
like I said, when you go even before you go to launch, I would say rather than running with your idea, bringing it to market, build that community, test it out there, ask the questions there so that when you're ready to move forward, say, well, actually, I have, even if it be 500 people, I have a group of 500 people that I've been picking their brains on for the last 6 months or whatever it may be. So I'd say start there before trying to build an audience after you've the product built,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
that's what worked for
exactly.
me.
Is it takes months to grow traction. So yeah, you're
Yeah.
dead right. That's super advice. If there was one feature that you could ask Mark Zuckerberg for within groups, what would it be?
Oh, that's a good question. Give me a few ideas. What have you seen
I tell you what bugs me about groups. I hate that it always has to be me that posts into them.
as the admin?
Because you can have other people that are admin, but if they post, it doesn't really have any impact. I used to
Yeah.
like when you could post as the group as opposed to a person. So they took that feature away.
Wow. Yes, yes, yes. I'd forgotten that actually.
So that they took that feature away. So I'd like if they could bring that back because, sometimes you just can't. Sometimes you cannot, you have to get, you can agree content with your team, but sometimes somebody else has to do for you. So that's one feature that I would love to see change. I have to say I used to like the Be Live or the what else did I use? StreamYard for going live into groups.
Yeah.
I did like that feature. What other features would I like?
Where do you see, I know you mentioned about like ChatGPT and things like that. Like, where do you see, like, is AI going to have an impact on Facebook, do you think? As in, are we going to see bot posts come just to generate some sort of interaction? I don't know. Is it going to have, or is it all going to have to be person based or person generated?
I think the AI is already there, and we
Really?
haven't really noticed it. And I think it's there in a different way. So, for example, there is like the AI image creation feature. So when you go to create a post, it's going to present you with Facebook's, it'll say,
Suggestion on what to go with this post.
or you'll be able to write in and say "girl on a swing," yeah,
Yes, yes,
blah
yes.
blah blah. And so that's already here, whether we use it or not. I don't like to be honest, everyone knows this. I don't like AI generated images or videos. I think that they just don't get engagement. So I don't know if that will ever take off, but I could be wrong. AI is here. I was doing ads this morning and it was using what I had written, and then it was suggesting, here's 5 or 6 different alternatives to what you've written. Do you want to use them or not? So AI is there from that perspective. AI is also there in terms of the algorithm. This is something that's just really good about Facebook in terms of Facebook ads. Again, years ago, I would have been teaching people how to create retargeting audiences. So I would have been saying, if somebody watches your videos, or if somebody interacts with you on Facebook or Facebook or Instagram, or if somebody visits your website, this is how you create that, an audience and retarget those people. But it just does it automatically now. So that's something we started to notice coming in about maybe 2 years or so ago. I noticed that there was ads that we were running as a company, and I wouldn't have been in the target audience that we had selected, but I was being served the ads. So we started to notice that. So that retargeting happens automatically. So that's called they have these Advantage Plus, audiences where they will go find the people for you. And it's it's a super platform for that.
Wow.
So,
okay, I didn't realize that was going on.
Yeah, so if somebody regularly interacts with your ads, then they're always going to be served those ads.
Yes,
So,
yes, yes.
So it's quite clever. I think AI is creeping in and we're not noticing. And
Yeah, it's under the radar.
Yeah. On the other side, how is Facebook changing? I think Facebook needs to stay more like Facebook. So I think it's trying to be a little bit more like TikTok. So, you go on, you're seeing these, cat videos and whatever, the reels and, the funny things. What I liked about Facebook was community. So I wish it would stay in its lane and remain, as community. But in saying that, they say that their time spent in app has increased by something like 6 or 7% since they started changing the type of content. I wonder, will it just be a short-term gain? Because I think if people want to go and look at TikTok videos, they'll go to TikTok,
Yeah, yeah. Well, I totally agree with you on the community, because that's what I firmly use and believe Facebook to be, is community. So again, going back to groups, it's the community based. Yeah. Definitely.
Well, look, thank you so much for all of your insights into using Facebook groups. If somebody wanted to find you then, Fiona, where would they get in contact with you?
So from a business point of view, like I said, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, or X. Sorry, I have to get up to date on X. Facebook, it's Count on Us Recruitment. And like I said, our website is there, even to email. It's hello@countonusrecruitment.ie.
Fantastic. Well, I just want to acknowledge, I have seen you over the years. I've seen that business develop, and fair play to you. It's really wonderful, that you're solving a problem, but it's also a problem for people who really need that problem to be solved for them, because they're selfless.
I know.
They're carers, they're selfless. So well done, you.
Thank you very, very
and
much.
continued success to you in the future. And I'm sure our paths will continue to cross.
You're a star. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. Thanks for listening to the Social Media Takeaway podcast. If you loved this episode and want deeper support with your marketing, head over to sellonsocialmedia.academy/hello.